It's another beautiful Saturday afternoon. Welcome to TV Sapientia News Hour. I am Oluchi Ojobamdele. On the news, Vice President Kashim Shettima has called on Nigerians to embrace national unity, collective sacrifice, and continued support for President Bola Tinubu's administration to achieve lasting peace and prosperity in the country. The Vice President made a call during yesterday's Eid al-Adha prayers at the National Eid Ground along Airport Road, Abuja. He urged Nigerians to look beyond their differences and work together for national progress, describing Eid al-Adha as a solemn occasion rooted in the legacy of Prophet Abraham's obedience and sacrifice, which are essential to building a strong and united Nigeria. Shettima urged Nigerian citizens to stand behind President Tinubu's leadership, noting that the unity of purpose and shared sacrifice are vital in addressing issues like insecurity and poverty. The River State Sole Administrator, Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas, has called on traditional heads in the state to step up their efforts in safeguarding public infrastructure in their respective community. Ibas made this statement while declaring open the 121st and 122nd Combined Quarterly General Meeting of the River State Council of Traditional Rulers in Port Harcourt yesterday. The sole administrator, who was represented by the Secretary to the State Government, Professor Ibibia Worika, highlighted that traditional rulers must take deliberate steps within their communities in securing government facilities against theft and vandalism. He maintained that his administration will not shield traditional rulers linked to the disruption of peace, while assuring them of his desire to partner with meaningful ideas from the institution to make the state greater. Speaking on behalf of other traditional rulers, the chairman of River State Council of Traditional Rulers, His Royal Majesty Chike Amadi, thanked the administrator for attending the meeting and putting in much effort for the peace and development of River State. The Edo State Police Command has begun a house-to-house arrest of identified cultists in an intensified crackdown on cult-related activities in the state. The command spokesperson Moses Yamu, in a statement yesterday, said the move was to either eliminate cultism or bring it to the barest minimum. According to him, at least 28 individuals suspected to be involved in cult-related activities in the state have been arrested during some raids on criminal hideouts in the state. He stated that 19 out of the suspects confessed to be members of confraternities and have been charged to court after screening. The Nigerian Senate Committee on Public Procurement has announced an immediate suspension of procurement activities for federal ministries, departments and agencies that ignore their invitations or fail to submit required accountability reports. The committee chairman, Senator Olajide Ibn Shabwa, who made this known at a press briefing in Abuja yesterday, revealed that several government bodies had repeatedly failed to cooperate with the committee's oversight responsibilities. Ibn Shabwa said the move is being carried out in collaboration with the Bureau of Public Procurement to enforce transparency and compliance with procurement regulations. He urged all government agencies to view the committee's oversight as both a legal mandate and a moral obligation to uphold accountability. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, has initiated a no-pay, no-work policy at the federal government following the continuous delay of salaries of its members. ASUU National President Professor Chris Piwana, who disclosed this in an interview, accused the government of trying to frustrate members of the union following their departure from the Integrated Payment and Personnel Information System, popularly known as IPPIS. The federal government had announced the removal of academic and non-academic staff members of higher institutions from the controversial IPPIS, a platform which had been faulted several times by ASUU and other academic unions. Speaking on behalf of non-academic staff, the national president of the Joint Action Committee of the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities and the Non-Academic Staff Union of Universities and Allied Institutions, Mohammed Ibrahim, berated the government over the continuous delay. Ibrahim said the university workers are simply treated like second-class citizens, even after writing to the Accountant General of the Federation and copied the Ministers of Education and Labour. A faction of the Pan-Yoruba social political group Afanifere has called on the National Assembly to commence impeachment proceedings against President Bola Tinubu over alleged conflict of interest in the award of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway contract. The leader of the group, Oba Oladipo Olaiton, in an interview condemned Tinubu's recent public declaration that the contractor handling the project, Gilbert Chagre, was his partner during the inauguration of 30 kilometers, Section 1 of the Coastal Highway project. President Tinubu, while inaugurating the project last Saturday, praised the Chagre-led high-tech construction company for its work on the road, which he described as a symbol of courage and commitment. Then, commenting on Tinubu's statement, Oba Olaiton expressed disappointment at what he described as a blatant admission of a conflict of interest, stating that the road was awarded without competitive bidding and appeared tailored to benefit the privately owned Eko Atlantic City. He also questioned the rationale behind the commissioning just a small portion of the highway, suggesting that the government may have no further intention of pursuing the full stretch of the coastal road once the portion leading to Atlantic City is completed. Reacting, the Lagos State chapter of the All Progressives Congress, APC, said the call for Tinubu's impeachment process lacked substance and is a joke taken too far. Oladejo said there was no basis for linking the remarks to a business arrangement, adding that due process was followed in awarding the contract. The governor of Benue State, Hyacinth Alia, has accused some 7 politicians in the National Assembly of sponsoring the attacks in Benue State, saying that it is unacceptable. The governor made the allegation while speaking as a guest on Channel Television's Politics Today on Friday. Meanwhile, he did not name the politicians, but the governor said that an interim report of a judicial panel he set up indicted many big names and vowed to take up the matter as soon as he received the full reports next week. Labour Party presidential candidate in the 2023 election, Peter Obi, has called on Nigerian youth to reject the growing get-rich-quick culture and embrace hard work. The Labour Party presidential candidate in the 2023 elections, Peter Obi, has called on Nigerian youth to reject the growing get-rich-quick culture and embrace hard work, skill acquisitions, and entrepreneurship as sustainable paths to success. Obi made the appeal on Friday at the maiden edition of the Amatutu Community Entrepreneurship and Empowerment Summit held in Agolo, his hometown in an northern local government area of Anambra State. Speaking, Obi decried the societal damage caused by the desperation among some young Nigerians to acquire wealth through illegitimate means. He pleaded with the youth to channel their energy into entrepreneurial ventures, trade, productive skills, noting that these are more enduring and meaningful routes to personal and national development. The summit, organized by the director of the Sickle Cell Orphanage and Underprivileged Home in Agolo, Ms. Aisha Edward Madago, featured the empowerment of 50 beneficiaries, including women and young people, with cash, equipment and tools to support their small businesses. Obi commended the organizers for their efforts and pledged continued support for initiatives that uplift the underprivileged, widows, and building entrepreneurs. On the foreign scene, Chad's President Mahamat Idris Deby announces that his country is suspending the issuance of visa to U.S. citizens in response to the Trump government's decision to ban Chadians from visiting the U.S. Deby stated this after Donald Trump signed the proclamation banning Chad nationals and citizens from 6 other African countries from entering the U.S. Recall that the new ban targets Afghanistan, Myanmar, Chad, the Republic of Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen. In the Republic of Congo, government spokesperson Thierry Mongala said that he believes his country was among those affected because of a misunderstanding over an armed attack in the U.S., with the perpetrators mistaken to be from the Republic of Congo. He insisted that Congo is not a terrorist country and is not a home to any terrorists, but known to have a terrorist vocation. Tehran has today denounced the U.S. travel ban on Iranians and citizens of 11 other mostly Middle Eastern and African countries, saying Washington's decision is a sign of a racist mentality. Alireza Hashemi Raha, the Foreign Ministry Director General for the Affairs of Iranians Abroad, called the measure, which takes effect on June 9, a clear sign of the dominance of supremacist and racist mentality among American policymakers. Hashemi Raha added that the decision indicates the deep hostility of American decision makers towards the Iranian and Muslim people. He said the policy violates fundamental principles of international law and deprives hundreds of millions of people of the right to travel based solely on their nationality or religion. Trump's executive order came days after Sunday's attack at the Colorado rally, in which authorities said more than a dozen people were hurt, and the suspect is an Egyptian man who had overstayed a tourist visa. On sports, Russia and Nigeria have played to a 1-1 draw in their international friendly yesterday, with both teams displaying determination and flashes of brilliance throughout the match. Russia opened the scoring in the 27th minute when Nigerian defender Simi Ajayi accidentally turned the ball into his own net. The Super Eagles, however, fought back in the second half, leveling the score in the 71st minute in a finishing from Tolu Arokodare after an error by the Russian goalkeeper. The Nigerian registered 6 shots, 4 of which were on target, while Russia managed 10 attempts but only 2 required to save from their goalkeeper. Still on sports, Jannik Sinner has battled past Novak Djokovic in a French Open semi-finals yesterday to book a first Grand Slam final meeting with reigning champion Carlos Alcaraz after the Spaniard saw off Lorenzo Musetti. World number 1 Sinner held off a record-chasing Djokovic with an impressive win on court Philippe Tatra to reach his maiden Roland Garros finals. Djokovic showed his trademark fighting qualities in a dramatic contest that lasted 3 hours and 16 minutes, but 3 missed set points late in the third set ultimately put paid to his hopes of a comeback. The 38-year-old will next attempt to win a record-breaking 25th Grand Slam title at Wimbledon next month. Alcaraz earlier booked his place in Sunday's final when opponent Musetti retired with a leg injury in the 4th set of their last 4 tie. Sinner, who is yet to drop a set in the tournament, will be hoping to gain revenge on Alcaraz after losing to the Spaniard in 5 sets in the semi-finals last year. To end the news, here are the major news headlines for today. The governor of Nigerian State, Hyacinth Alia, has accused some 7 politicians in the National Assembly of sponsoring the attacks in Benue State, saying that it is unacceptable. Tehran has today denounced the U.S. travel ban on Iranians and citizens of 11 other mostly Middle Eastern and African countries, saying Washington's decision is a sign of a racist mentality. And Jannik Sinner has battled past Novak Djokovic in a French Open semi-finals yesterday to book a first Grand Slam final meeting with reigning champion Carlos Alcaraz. And that was the TV Sapienza News. On behalf of the technical and editorial crew, I am Oluchi Ojobamdele. Thank you for choosing TV Sapienza.